Hey guys, this is being recorded live. Today is July 16th, and I am remote viewing target number 64979933. If you want to remote view this yourself, feel free, or pause the video before you go ahead or read any comments, because I will be posting this later once it's not live, and I don't want to spoil anything for you. My goal today is to be as passive as possible. So instead of setting the intention of reaching for data, this one might be pretty boring today. I think I'm just going to practice being passive and letting it come to me. I am experimenting with simply setting a subtle intention out there to remote view this target instead of really having a goal. So right out of the gate, I just want to state that absolutely nothing might come in, and that's awesome because it'll be a chance to sit here and just have a nice sit in front of a window with a bunch of beautiful trees on a gorgeous day. I'm so grateful that I have air in my lungs to breathe, clean air, food in my stomach. I'm safe. Clean running, drinking water. All these things that I'm grateful for. Many people right now in the world don't have a safe space like this. A simple room with four walls and a roof and a floor. A door that locks. A light switch for a light bulb that can even turn on or off. I'm really so very grateful that I have these things right now. So I'm just going to take a minute and embody that and connect with that and be present with that before I proceed with remote viewing. Thank you for this opportunity to teach. Thank you for the opportunity to show others that there's more to this life and reality, and to do so evidentially. I appreciate this opportunity, and that's what my intention is right now. I want to help others see that there's more to this reality, and that they can seek the truth out themselves if they choose to. All right. So this is a blind remote view. It's target numbered 64979933. My intention now is to observe with robust data target 64979933. Six, 4, 9, 7, 9, 9, 3, 3. Let's do an ideogram. 64979933. 6497 dash 9933. So I get this line that drops straight down, slight bump back up, and then down again. Let's start at the top of the line, probing it. I get sort of a soft metallic gray color. Just sort of a subtle, gentle energy behind it. Let's probe that again. 64979933. Yep, just like a soft metallic gray color. So we're going to start super basic and very slowly open the aperture. If intuition allows, if it chooses to today, I'd like it to. Let's see where it brings us. So, ideogram 64979933. So I'm getting, the color is specifically like a spray paint silver, like it's got glints in it on a very small, almost maybe even microscopic level. It reminds me of spray paint, or like if somebody were to take a latex glove that this spray paint had been painted on and press it down on something. There's a soft feeling of it, like soft rubber meeting. So I'm going to start out as vague as possible, and then eventually we'll narrow into the details. Let's probe the next part of the ideogram, 64979933. Again, I feel like I'm touching a rubber component. There's a squishiness to it. Maybe not rubber, but something squishy, pliable, bendable that kind of springs back after you put some pressure on it. It reminds me of surgical tubing. But there's a larger space that's can be compressed like this, that has that sort of tactile response. A lot of this material, it's a lot of the same material. Again, in my mind, I'm seeing like surgical, like rubber tubing. I don't know if anyone here ever had a slingshot, but it's like, remember you played with the slingshot and it was that tubing that was connected to the slingshot that you pull back. It was that kind of stuff. It was like a latex rubber kind of stuff. 64979933. In my mind's eye, there's this, you ever pull your Christmas lights out at for Christmas, and it's just like a ball, a wadded up string that's like kind of messy and knotted up? That's what this part of the ideogram, at the bottom of the line where it bounced back. I'm right here at the vertex of that, where it met. And there's this cluttered sort of like clunk of stuff. It's hard to pick apart individual details of it. Is this symmetrical, or is it chaotic and randomly distributed in shape? There's some order to it. But now I'm being reminded of sort of clock gears. Not the cog wheels, but there are these other gears in old clocks that are like sort of shaped like this. Think of like a golf club. But there's these different sort of, they remind me of gears. They're like circular, like move in a circular pattern, but there's different layers to them. Feels mechanical. And I can clearly see at least one of the gears is up slightly higher than the others, and is either in the front or in the back of whatever this mechanism is. I want to say that it reminds me of brass, the material it's made out of. But who cares? Who knows? 64979933. What comes in for this target? Spherical shape. Odd, rough, spherical but rough, bumpy spherical shape. Is there motion? Is there energy? Interesting. I feel like there is an energetic component to this, almost like a spin or a torsion, but I'm getting just a knowing that it depends on your perspective of it. Close up versus far away. If you were really far away, you wouldn't see much movement, but if you're up close, you see more movement or more energy. Interesting. Let's keep playing with this. Since we're here, let's gather more robust data on just this point, the vertex of the ideogram. So we've gone down here. We're just before the bounce up. We're right here at the vertex where this jumbly ball thing is. I'm going to be quiet for a moment and just sit with this. 6497. Zoom in on the white. Getting something white, shaped like this. Sort of like a cup shape. Like one of those bad for the environment styrofoam cups. Used to have them near water coolers and stuff. Show me more about this. Oh, except it's flat. It's not. This is like a panel or an edge of it. It's just like sort of a, okay. What's so neat about this? What is so neat about this? Oh, man. What does it do? It's got a flash image of a face with like half of it covered in a white plastic mask. Does it mask something? Is that symbolic or literal? Silly autistic brain of mine, is that symbolic or is it literal? What feels more right, symbolic or literal? Let's feel into it. Is the mask symbolic or literal? Symbolic. Okay, I'm not getting much more about that right now. Yeah, except maybe one edge of it is sort of wavy, like an odd sort of curvy edge to it. It's not straight. Okay, moving along. So we're down here in the ideogram. Now we're at this part that bounces up a little bit. Let's go not to the top peak of that, but halfway in between the vertex and the top of it. So we're right here. Let's feel that. I don't know, maybe some sort of cables or wire or wiring. Something that connects. Connecting, that's what that section of the ideogram is showing. Anything else about anything else about the wires? No, just sort of reminds me of like a coaxial cable, like for audio video purposes. All right, well that's boring. Let's jump to the peak. So we're at the vertex now. Let's jump to the highest point before it dips back down again, right here. What is that? Let's touch that. So we're back with a spherical shape, but this time there's like grooves that run along it in an arcing shape or fashion or pattern. It reminds me, this is not literal, but it reminds me of a stone sphere with straight lines like chiseled into it or etched into it that follow the curve of the sphere in a straight line. So they kind of arc, and there's more than one. And they're just sort of going off in slightly different directions, but they're part of this spherical shape. Not getting much about this one other than a feeling of stone. And the stone specifically, it reminds me of like a kind of stone that when you look at it, it's not all one sheen, it's not all one color. There's like pockets of like mineralization or something. How do you describe that? Like, you know, it's generally one color, but then like, you know, like a kitchen countertop that's made of stone, there's like little pops of like minerals and color. It's like patchy like that. Let's see, do I see any colors with this stone thing? I'm getting dark colors like deep grayish black and greens. The splotches on it remind me of lichen, how lichen just sort of grows sporadically with like these weird boobly edges. Cool. Anything else? Sort of a greenish stone. Spherical still. I see sort of a white tip to it or a white point, like something converging, like here's the sphere, and then on one part of it there's like this sort of whitish something. Let's look at that. So the whitish thing has its own kind of luminosity or light to it. It has, reminds me of a comet's tail. So the image I have is from space, looking at a planet or star or something like that, spherical in shape, with this sort of white energetic thing that, you know, when a rocket shoots off, it leaves a plume that's sort of wider at the bottom and then gets narrower at the top. I'm seeing that with the wide part over part of the atmosphere of this spherical space object. Let's move closer to that. Let's move into that. 6497993. Ooh, highly energetic. Whatever this white part is, it reminds me of like a solar flare, or like, it feels good. It feels good to be in. Oh, I could stay here forever. How do I feel about this target? What's the emotional impact on me aside from visuals? Let's shut visuals down for a second. How do I feel about this 6497993 target? Energetic. Specifically like down through my upper back. It feels good. It feels really good. Wherever this is, I could stay there for quite a while. Yeah, not a lot of people around in this place. That's awesome. Very peaceful, but energetic. I think to some this would not be a peaceful place, but to me, for some reason, which I guess we'll figure out why later, is. I'm seeing the, whatever that white energetic is, it is spilling out over the spherical top of the surface of whatever this larger body is. And it's matriculating down through the atmosphere down to the planet with these sort of, not strings, but like narrow channels or narrow rivers of this white energetic material. Kind of reminds me of like plasma, or like those like abstract shapes you get when you look at the aurora borealis. It's lovely. Anything else before we move on? Yeah, I'd say the strongest feature to this is definitely the white. There's a part of it, the shape reminds me of a blood vessel in shape. Like a large thing, and then like these like little kind of like artery arms like that come out of it. Okay. All right. So down here, we're at the arc of the ideogram. Let's probe down just a little bit. Okay, now we're into something that's directly correlated as being a function of time. As I move slightly on this part of the ideogram, events change. Right here is a key moment in time for this target. You know, it's as if I'm hitting back, forth on like a waterfall falling, you know, like you can reverse it, or you can pause it, or you can let it play, but it changes something. Before, after, not the same before or after. It's something is different now. I almost feel like letting it fall, like just, just release, you know, like something that has like potential energy that then turns kinetic energy, and is like, just let it go, like let that momentum, let it continue, because it's going to anyway. All right, so trace down here, hit the peak. All right, here we go. Let's go to the bottom of the next trough. Things get decidedly darker here. Okay, at the previous, I think it was the vertex of the ideogram down here, we had this knotted sort of rough and bumpy ball that had energy. It was like a ball of Christmas lights, right? It was like all tangled up. I'm getting another one here, but it's darker. It reminds me of the one here, but it's different. Let's be with this for a moment. Something is worse now about it. It's almost like it's similar to the rough bumpy ball that was over here, but now it's diseased, or it's like, I don't, emotionally, I do not like holding it or being in contact with it. It reminds me of like diseased brain material, like diseased, soft, squishy brain. Ugh. Like in it, it's fleshy, and it's like, reminds me of like what a surgeon must see when they look inside of a body and there's an organ and it's slippery and there's like veins to it, but some of the veins are black. Some of the veins have like a darkness going through them that is symbolic or literal of like disease, necrosis. This has the energy of death and dying all over it. Okay, well, this is not my energy, and it is not, I'm just observing it, so it can stay in its space to be observed with respect. So let's observe. It's not good. Okay, so I see something whose function has changed. It used to be something I'm very much seeing like a brain. It used to be able to function in one capacity, but now there's a tipping point that occurs with it where whatever this dark sort of viscous liquid is that's like coursing through it, which I don't know if that's literal or symbolic, but it's like coursing through it, and it's killing itself, like it's killing the brain, it's killing its own organism or organ or something that it's flowing through. It's destroying it. And it's all building to a point. But it's like the dark particles that are running through it aren't aware enough to realize that they're destroying their own pathways that they're going through to get to wherever they're going. It just feels doomed and fated, whatever this thing is. Like, let's compare. So the energetics of it compared to like that white sort of aurora borealis light was like, I liked being in that. This is heavy. This feels like I'm holding a ball of old rusty, stinky, slimy chains. Like, it's just heavy. And it's all interconnected, and I don't like it. I don't like holding it. So I'm gonna place it back gently and respectfully where I found it, and say to it, thank you for letting me examine you. You are you, and I am me. We are separate energetically. I respect that you exist the way that you do, and I respect the way that I exist the way that I do, and we are different. I'm here to observe whatever you are, and I respect you. You can stay there. Shrink you down back into the ideogram. So we came down here, we hit up here. That was that guy. I'm going to call it I feel like calling it the Death Star. It reminds me of like just a supervillain's dark brain. It's weird. Anyway. All right, there's much not left. There's much not left to the ideogram. There's this last little tail of it, which sort of goes like that. So let's touch that. Yeah, this isn't ending. This is death. Whoosh. Yeah, clean and clear and concise. Whoosh. Whatever this organism is, it died or dies. Whoosh. And the ideogram comes to a complete and abrupt and correct end. Correct as in it feels organically with the rest of the ideogram. It ends here, and that makes sense for whatever all of this is. So we've looked at the entire ideogram. Now, I'm going to get really passive again and let anything come in, such as flash visuals or video regarding this. Let's ask some questions. What does this do? 6497-9933. I'm getting sort of like a pathway with a choice. Anyone can use this, whatever it is. It could even be symbolic for life itself, but everyone comes in, they come to a point, and then they can choose, continue moving forward in this healthy way, or continue in this other way that is not so healthy. Darker versus lighter. What is this target's? Can I have more detail regarding the specifics of this target's functionality? It is so much harder to, I almost feel like this is about life, or like sort of ethics a little bit, like good versus evil, but like it's so much harder to remain in the healthy part of, again, I'm seeing like a spinning brain over here versus this darker, heavier brain. Like everyone, it's so alluring to get trapped into this one down here, the ball of chains one, the heavy, gross one, because it offers a sort of like power to it. It has its own weight and gravity. And I feel like if anyone else were to observe the meaning of whatever this is, most eyes would be on this, the darker thing. If you choose to perceive or focus very much on this lighter thing, whatever this is, so 6497993. What is this? Something that seems to build momentum. And that's the difficult thing, to stay in this part of it, the lighter part of it, because once you're here, it's so easy to tip over the waterfall and just dive straight into that, the darker, bad, evil thing. It's just, there's this interesting connection between the two. Once you're here and you're conscious enough at this point, whatever this symbolizes, this light, energetic thing, it's so easy to then just dive into the dark pool of polluted, whatever that is, and just impulsively, like, because that's what everyone is doing. Most people don't stay here wherever this light part is. They don't care very much for that. I'm getting a sense of timelessness to this, whatever this process is, or this thing, whatever this is for this target. It's like something that everyone touches in their lifetime. Not tangibly per se, but just like interacts with, or just by being alive, that's odd. I don't know what to make of that. Let's feel it. All right. What does it feel like? Again, I'm getting a spherical shape. Sleek, round, high contrast. High contrast. One side is light, one side is dark. Is this a moon? What is this? Okay. Just saw a face. Not human. I see you. Okay, I see you. All right. Good times. So this is a non-human entity that has popped in. Hello. I'd like to offer you my intention with emotion so that you know what I'm doing and why I'm here. Curiosity. Record keeping. Storytelling. Expansion of knowledge. And overall respect. If I may act as an ambassador with the highest order of respect to you and whatever it is that I'm observing, I recognize that I'm a guest here, and I humbly ask permission to continue with this target. What is it that is important for me to know? What would you like to share with me that I may share with others? You're just going to watch me? What is this place? Thank you so much. So, all I'm seeing is again more symbology of like a brain, but there's like wires hooked up to it. It reminds me of like something from The Simpsons with like a brain floating in water with like, they kept the brain alive and it like can communicate and talk even though it doesn't have a body anymore. I don't know if this is symbolic for artificial intelligence or what, but is there anything else? This might be the one time that we ever get a chance to communicate. Is there anything that you would like me to know as a humble guest and receiver of information? Please. Interesting. I'm just being sort of seeing what it sees for a moment, and that is like looking up through an opening in a wall, and I can see a planet. It's not our planet. It has a soft blue. It's like all water, like a light atmosphere above it. The atmosphere is just mixed evenly around the entire Is this your home? What would you like me to know about it and to share? This feels like I'm looking at a planet in my solar system, actually. Neptune or blue, just a soft blue, like a light pastel kind of blue. Venus or something, I don't know. What is it? Why are you showing me this? What is the significance of this? Please and thank you. The word future. Okay, future in what context? What does future mean? I'm here. Can you please help me to understand? I may be leaving soon. Time is critical. Please. Okay. So the visual that I got, thank you. Thank you. The visual that I got was zooming very quickly away from that and then stopping at a point in space and then replaying it the other direction, zooming straight into the planet. So it almost feels like the perspective from either like something that's traveling to that planet and what it saw. What this something is, I don't know, although I did peek out the edge, the side of it. So I don't know if it's a craft or if it's like a meteor. I truly don't know, but there was some other being floating around out there that popped in with its face to show me this. Oh. Anything else about this target? 64979933. So the last little impression that I get is that earlier on in this session, whatever that light component was, is connected to that beautiful bluish planet, as in they had the same sort of energetic signature feel to it. I feel like what I was seeing early on with that round bumpy sphere in that sort of white lightish color that was sort of like slowly matriculating down into the atmosphere was like a connecting point, and the beings on that sphere have a choice between, you can go that way with that and it's sort of a gentle flowing energy, or you can go another way, which is a much heavier, darker thing, and each being will feel organically pulled towards one or the other just inherently with who or whatever they are. So yeah, that was crazy. I think I'm going to call it and post the results of what the target is after I'm done, downloading this live, and then yeah, I can't wait to see what it was. So thanks for coming along with me, guys. That blue, so pretty. The little icing clouds in it, just robin's egg blue. So beautiful there.